Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Like, I just had an accountability call with my CEO sisters, and we talked about that. Um, the truth is that when you are like really tired of where you are, nobody has to tell you it's time to change. Nobody has to tell you it's time to get out of that relationship. Nobody has to tell you it's time to get out of that toxic environment. It's like when you get to that point, your why is so strong that you literally don't need any input from anyone outside of you because you know it's time to make a change. And so a lot of times we get so comfortable in toxic relationships, toxic environments, that it just becomes a way of life. And we forget how badly we desire peace, abundance, happiness, joy. Like, do not allow yourself to believe that where you are is one, where you're going to remain, because that's not true. But also, don't believe that where you are is the place where you are supposed to be. So I've said before, like, you're exactly where you're supposed to be in this moment, which is true, but that's not where you're supposed to stay. And so if your life is not where you want it to be in this moment, like as I am speaking, then you got to tell yourself it's time to make a change. And then you've got to commit to making the changes required to get to where you want to be. And that might mean changing the story that you've been telling yourself about yourself. That might mean literally calling out your limiting beliefs. That might mean making a scary decision to walk away from a relationship, from a career, from whatever it is that has caused you a lot of pain. Um, a lot of times we want to hold on to things that we have outgrown. And if you're in a place where you're feeling like, I don't want to be here anymore, I don't want to do this anymore, like, yield to that feeling, yield to that thought. Don't try to talk yourself into staying. I did a video a while back called Toxic Gratitude. It's really about saying, you know what, I'm just grateful to have this relationship. I'm just grateful to have this job. And obviously, you are grateful for every single thing you have. You should be grateful. But that does not mean that you need to stay there. And it also doesn't mean that you make a quick decision that you would later regret. But it means you need to think through the process of getting out of that, right? Like, what is it going to take for me to get from here to there? What am I going to need to stop saying to myself? What habits am I going to need to break? What people do I need to break free from? And what people do I need to start to get into relationship with? Right? Who do I need to become? I can't say that enough. And so I want to challenge you to identify and challenge your limiting beliefs around your capabilities, around the possibilities that are available to you, around the opportunities that are available to you. Let me tell you something. There is enough money to go around. There is enough opportunity to go around. There is enough love to go around. And so I don't want you to have the scarcity mindset, which is one that I used to have, which was, if I let this go, then what? Like, when I was in that physically abusive relationship for 6 years, my thought was, if I break up with him, then what? Then I'm going to be alone. If I break up with him, who else is going to want to date me? Like, that was the story that I was telling myself. When I was in a position, a job, that was no longer fulfilling, where I was being bullied, where I was unhappy, where I did not want to go to that job every day, my thought was always, I want to leave, but am I even going to find something that's better than this? Like I had all of these blockages that were keeping me stuck in the place that I said I was ready to break free from. And so when you get to that place where you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, you got to go beyond just being upset and being frustrated and being overwhelmed and being anxious or being sad. Like you got to move to action. Your first thought should be, what do I need to do to get out of this? What do I need to do to improve my life? And you got to stop waiting to feel confident. Like confidence is in the doing. You get more and more confident as you step out of your comfort zone. You get more and more confident as you decide that although I feel nervous, I feel anxious, I feel afraid, I feel the fear, I am going to do this. And let me tell you something. I've been speaking for over 10 years and I still get nervous before every speech, but it does not stop me from doing it. And so stop waiting for the feeling. Stop waiting to feel like, ooh, this feels good. I can do it. You might have a little bit of doubt, but do it anyway, because what's going to happen is you're going to get better and better at it. Like the more you do it, the more you challenge yourself, the more you speak up, the more you advocate for yourself, the more you sell yourself, the better you will become at it. So you got to decide what you want and then you got to follow through with it. And then give yourself some grace. If it doesn't work out exactly the way that you wanted it to, lean into the lesson and go for it again. Like, you cannot let go. Like, you cannot let go of that thing. Don't get me hyped now. You cannot let go of that thing until you get it. You cannot, I'm going to say this again because somebody needs me to say it again. You cannot let go of that thing until you get it. It's time out for feeling sorry for yourself. It's time out for having pity parties. It's time out for complaining day after day after day and not doing anything to change your situation. So again, when you get to that place where you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, you've got to follow that up with action. And when you do, you will begin to see changes. Far too many people are talking about what they want, but they're not willing to take the action. They're not willing to execute. They're not willing to implement what they are learning. Just like you listen to these videos, just like you watch me. Don't just listen. Don't just watch. Like, what can I take away from this today? Like, what do I need to start doing based upon what Dr. Houston just said? It's time out for playing small. It's time out for just existing. It's time for you to live. Oh, goodness. It is time for you to live. That's why you were placed on this earth, not to be sad, not to be depressed, not to be looking at other people saying, wow, I wish I had that life. No, you are here for a reason. You're here to impact lives. You're here to make a difference. You're here to utilize the gifts, the talents, and skills that have been placed on the inside of you. And every time you utilize that time to sink and complain, you're wasting time. Leverage the gift of today. Take action. Until next time, take care.